even get to closing my door already. I got caught up writing on or with the Arcturians just because they are so much fun. And I didn't have time. I was very busy today, and I just finished up literally just scribbling out information. So, Chrissy, you are delightful. Thank you so much. So give me just a second. I'm going to close those doors behind me. When I get into my groove, right, I forget about anything else, and that's what I've been doing as I've been in this intuitive mindset between writing my newsletters out today and then all this information from the Arcturians. Very cool. So, Chrissy, I hope you had a great week. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I had a great meeting last week. I would recommend seriously looking up a gal by the name of Chris Ann Hall. Chris with a K. Chris Ann was at our group here in Central Oregon, the People's Rights Group, and she came and spoke on our rights, our sovereign rights, and went into history, American history. She teaches classes, the university, maybe it's called Liberty University now that I put it into context. Fabulous information. This girl is brilliant. And just 2 days ago, don't quote me, Robert David Steele, who is CIA, ex-CIA, 30 years in the CIA, and whistleblower of sorts, he had her listed on his newsletter, which I think is just fantastic. He brought up her information that said she's pretty fantastic. So I love how she is making the round, so to speak. She's getting coverage. So again, if you're not familiar with her, definitely look her up. Also, Chrissy, since I've got you on my screen, if you have any questions tonight, let me know what's happening. That would be fantastic. Okay, let's go into this chat. And thanks for letting me. Oh, and Sheila's here. Hey, Sheila. Hi, dear. I didn't see you. Love my hair. Oh, thank you. Yes, it's really fancy tonight, right? Anyway, okay. We've got lots of fun things. I'm going to, oh, by the way, Sheila and I had a great conversation about what's going on and what's happening and how it impacts her life. So that's really fun. Okay, so we are going to do, of course, my cards, because this is a great way to start the evening is with a card. And tonight, and from the Crystal Oracle, I pulled petrified wood. Now, petrified wood, if you go through my house, I have got chunks of petrified wood all over because I absolutely love this rock. I think it's just fantastic. Now, you would think I would know more about all the meanings on petrified wood, considering, however, I don't, so I'm learning as we go. So here we go. Tonight's petrified wood for our next week, right, our energy for the next week is about standing the test of time, transformation, and strength. I think those are all really, really powerful for right now. You know, you hear a lot of people in the deplorables, the truthers, the anons are all about saying, and the Trump people, to hold the line, right? We are all about holding the line. Well, standing the test of time also to me corresponds to that, right? Standing the test of time. And hi, Tracy. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Tracy gave me a bunch of great questions too that we'll get into. So petrified wood, when you are challenged at all with holding the line, with standing the test of time, I mean, obviously petrified wood is forever, right? But standing and holding that resonance, because it's so easy when you look at things to go sideways. For example, this past week, I watched, because I really like Rand Paul, I watched an interview with him with George Stephanopoulos. Now, if I weren't informed, and if I had just been watching George to watch George, I would have thought, wow, he's really convincing. Sorry, guys, I'm going to take off my jacket. He's really convincing. I can see why people would all of a sudden feel totally that the election was not a fraud, that the election was normal, that the election was just fine. And Rand Paul was explaining all these different ideas, and I'm thinking, again, I looked at it with both ears, discernment and wow. So I can understand why people are kind of off the charts and why we have that 20 to 30% that are just on the other side, especially if you listen to that kind of stuff. So learning to hold the line is very important, and standing with the test of time. Transformation, on another note, transformation is all about us transforming into the best of who we are. And I feel right now this is essential. I mean, think of us as a shapeshifter. Remember those Transformers that the kids had, a shapeshifter, and we could do all this, and all of a sudden they went from a robot to this really cool animal? Well, that's essentially what we are doing right now, is we are in this amazing time of transformation and moving out of the matrix and out of the static. For example, yesterday I was talking with Sheila, and she was asking, I know, Sheila, you don't mind me sharing this, but she was going, why am I resisting doing some marketing? Well, the marketing, when I looked through her eyes and I could hear her through her ears, was creating static of the old matrix, of the old ways. And so when she stepped out of that and moved into the progression of where she was going, where we are all going, we are transforming, then the static cleared up. So to me, this transformation is very essential to really identifying what we want and what we don't want. What is it that we want to focus on? What's most important to us at this moment for what we are going to create tomorrow, June, next year, you name it. So really stepping in and listening to the static. If there's too much static in your world, then you know you're going back into the matrix. So if it starts to get quiet and that transformation starts to unfold, then you know you're on task, you're on track, you are on the path to what it is that you desire. So think about transformation. I love it. I didn't think you'd mind, Sheila. And strength, where are our strengths? Where are you the strongest? Where are you the weakest? And anytime you feel like you aren't as strong as you could be, this is a great opportunity to really step into what it is you can do to improve that strength. I'll give you an example. One of my weaknesses, I'll be straight up, is paperwork. Ugh. Sitting at my computer and just doing, check off, check off, check off, check off. So by facing that monotony, facing that, it's like, okay, I feel so much stronger tonight. I know that is a very simple example. However, it's in the simplicity sometimes where we hang ourselves up because we don't follow through. We step back, we don't take action. You procrastinate, I procrastinate, whatever you want to look at. So this is an opportunity to really develop our strength. And yes, some of that is physical strength. Some of that is emotional strength. Some of it is mental strength. So learning and expanding. And then, of course, right now, to me, it's more about spiritual strength, too. Standing true for who you are and for what is most important to you. I'll give you another example. A friend of mine contacted Mr. Canada. Everybody knows about Mr. Canada. And started going off on him about Fauci was the medical genius god, and you need to take a vaccine, and blah, 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 blah. And, of course, Mr. Canada tuned it out, turned it off, and didn't read it. So he sent it to me so I could read it. And we need strength at those times to withhold off that kind of energy. So this is all about discernment too, as to what is in our highest and best good, right? So back to petrified wood. Cool. So wish I didn't have to keep punching this little thing. So now let's read this. Now I have to get my glasses back on, but they do kind of fade out here. So this is what it says. Petrified wood. True wisdom stands the test of time because it stems from the eternal part of our nature, the soul. Okay, we're talking about soul energy here. I love this. That's what I'm saying. Strength of the soul. Spiritual strength to stand the test of time. Spiritual strength to say no to those people who are trying to override what is important to us. To me, it's live and let live. If you want to have a vaccine, you want to wear a mask, okay, cool, that's great, but don't tell me what to do kind of thing, right? So that to me is part of this. That's a soul level. That's freedom. A magical transformation is about to occur through an unexpected turn of events. Okay, guys, I don't know about you. I think we're all on board with this. This is so exciting. We need a magical transformation this month, right? Wait till you hear what the Arcturians have to say. Oh, baby, it's good stuff. And I'll explain before I get into it, but it's really good. This is all the result of the strength and commitment you have long shown towards something you truly believe in, and everybody believes in this transformation. Well, yes, there is that 20 to 30% that are still caught in the old matrix, the old thought forms, the old fear programming. The rest of us are going, we are done with this. We are so done. We're so over it. We are ready to progress forward. So I love this magical turn of events. This is the result of us being strong and committed. Love this. And because we believe this is possible. It will soon be time to accept your reward. Okay, I'm in, knowing you were right after all. Well, those around me always go, Candia, do you know, I do. That's one of my horrible things that I always do. I have to admit, I always say, I was right. I was right. I was right. Sounds like I'm being egotistical, but it's right there, knowing you were right off after all. That means all of us. Isn't that great? I love this. The strength and commitment you have shown for so long will serve you well. Many who have, until now, either ridiculed you or attempted to discredit you will all of a sudden want to jump on your side. It is possible to stand firm in your beliefs, yet also to show compassion towards others. Oh my God, guys, this is like, this couldn't be better, because this fits right in with the 1st of March, the March change. I mean, all these things that are happening that are behind the scenes, as well as we just saw the CPAC over the weekend. And the fact that on the 4th, okay, that's the old inauguration day. And I know a lot of people are hoping that Trump would, take over. Then military has to take over first before that is to happen. However, Mars, the planet of volition, goes into Gemini, the sign of communication. So Mercury is going to go boom into communication. So I think we're going to hear some really good things. And you combine that with the fact that we've all stayed true to the truth. I love this. Many who have until now ridiculed you or us and attempted to discredit you or us or me will all of a sudden want to jump on your side. This is so cool. Now you have to remember, I never read these beforehand. That's what's so much fun. It's like I'm learning this as you are. Now, on another note, of course, my favorite deck, I only pull these for the show, Sacred Rebels Guidebook by Alanna Fairchild. She is fantastic. I would recommend her. And this one is Every Journey Starts with a Single Step, which is so perfect for the title, meaning that it's all about us. It's all about us, meaning that it's up to us to make the change. So that change starts with us, and that change starts with the very first step of transformation. So when you feel resistance, that's not your direction. If you feel, oh, this feels good, okay, then away we go. So every journey starts with the first single step. I'm going to read just a little bit and then we'll move forward. You are on a journey. We are on a journey. Yes, it is an internal journey, but there is also a physical expression of this journey that is going to become increasingly important to the fulfillment of your destiny in this lifetime. I have not read this before. This is very cool. Your journey has started on the inside, but its destination will be the physical expression of an internal healing, which means to me that we are healing lifetimes of soul experiences, of multiple lifetimes, of a lot of wounding through the lifetimes, a lot of fear, and we are healing this so that we now can create fulfillment of your destiny in this lifetime. Okay, you're on board, I'm on board, this is exciting. Your journey has started on the inside, but its destination will be the physical expression of an internal healing. This journey will draw upon what you have learned and mastered over the course of your life, so much so that you may feel as though your life experiences have prepared you just for this particular adventure. Now, how many of you here could say, yes, that's true. These are perfect. Yes, they are. I mean, think about this. How many of you can say right now that everything that has happened in your life has led you to this moment? Of course it has. To this moment where we are going through this global transformation on such a giant scale that it's almost unfathomable, right? And think about this. Chrissy, I don't know everything that's unfolded in your life. However, I'm sure a lot has. Sheila lost her husband, right? 15 years ago, quite a while ago. Tracy's been dealing with her family. And I don't mean that in a bad way. She's just been taking care of her father's had heart problems. Her mother has Alzheimer's. Her sister's grandchild, she's been taking care of her. I mean, a lot. And her little brother. I mean, there's so much that we are all have gone through. We've all gone through to learn our strengths and our weaknesses so that it's all prepared us for right now in this transformation to hold the light. Oh my God, this is so cool. You have all that you need within you. Okay, I don't know about you, but that works for me. This is not a time to worry about what you are going to take with you. From within your heart, you will sense what needs to come along for the ride and what is best left behind you now. You may be surprised at exactly how much can be left behind you without feeling concerned or anxious. That's a big one. Too many people feel concerned and anxious. You will be able to travel far lighter than you ever imagined possible. To be best equipped for this journey, you will need a lightness of heart and the realization that change can be an incredible blessing, even if what you are leaving behind is something you found secure, safe, familiar, or comforting. That's the old matrix. That's what we have found comforting. Just as the butterfly leaves the chrysalis behind when it is time to spread its newly formed wings, so too are you ready to leave behind what once was and embrace what is more appropriate for you at this time. There's an element to this journey you are embarking upon that is unknown, and I will leave it at that. And that is so true. I mean, think about this. We are moving into a space and place where I do feel that we are leaving behind emotional baggages, mental gyrations, physical discomforts. I'm finding the nice right word, discomforts we're going to leave behind so that we are ready and prepared for this next part of the journey. To me, this is really, really exciting. In fact, when I think about it, I can get very teary. I can get very emotional because I can feel this moment, this turning point, this crossroads, because of lifetimes of very clear memories to get to this point of allowing for this huge sovereign freedom that is coming for humanity. And guess what? You guys are all part of my circle. You're all part of this journey. This is really exciting. Now, with that being said, when I was talking about the lifetimes that have brought us here, what's interesting is the history of our planet. Feel blessings, absolutely. Is the history of our planet is very deep, and what we know. How do I put this? We know less of what really happened than the truth. We have a very myopic view of what has happened and the control factors on this planet. And you don't have to believe me. You can think I'm crazy. You can go with it and say, yeah, that makes sense. And that is, we have been, I mean, think about it. 65 million years ago, we had a reptilian force. I've talked about this before, that we have part of our brain it is reptilian. Well, part of these factions of reptilians have still been on this planet, and some have moved underground. And in every culture, in all the history books, they talk about the ones underground, the Naga underground, that come up and grab little children and take them away. There is not, even from Native Americans to ancient scripts, they always talk about, the monsters, that they have been here and that they eat and prey on children and on people. So have we thought these were Grimm's fairy tale, or is there some truth to this? Well, this goes into the reptilian faction that has been compromising our planet for a very long time, and that's why when I talked, might have been, I don't know how many weeks ago, that the Arcturians were saying that Gaia is done with the experiment. She's done. She's out. If you're crazy, then I'm crazy too. Love you, Chrissy. Love it. We all are crazy. It's good. Isn't there a great song about that too by Seal? Crazy. I'm sure there are other ones too. So with the reptilians, they have been, throughout the centuries, they have been coming and bloodlusting on us. Well, what if we change our perspective on this a little bit? What if our leaders have known this, so they have kept it as a controlled force, right? A controlled market, so to speak, and then have kept all of us in the dark. Then they got married into the bloodlines, and so then they have the reptilian forces within them, right? Because they're the top dogs. So it's very fascinating. What if through the centuries then these reptilian forces have intermingled with the human population? What if these reptilian forces, their bloodlines then came into and integrated with the leaders on this planet and then have created the bloodlines that we know today? So what if these reptilian forces are the ones behind, we've talked about this, but just wait, this will make sense, that they're the ones behind the bloodlines, and they're the ones behind the manipulations and the bloodlusting. Hi, Corbin, thank you. I appreciate you hopping on. That's my kid. That's my kid. It's that guy right there. Oh, he's got a great story too. That's a whole other story. Good stuff. So with these reptilians that have been controlling the elite, and because they're behind, because within the Christian traditions, we go into the devil and Satan. Thanks, guys, for saying hi. So with that, with the Satan concept, I don't believe in Satan per se, but that negative influence of the reptilian influence on this planet have then influenced these leaders, these elite groups, and there's always somebody behind the curtain, and behind that curtain is, to me, part of these reptilian forces. Now, I do think there are several reptilian races. I don't know how many, and I don't know exactly where they all are. I don't know where. I know some are underground. I believe that. I believe that they have different energy spheres on this planet that they can come in and be part of the bloodletting. I also believe that they're shapeshifters. So how weird and crazy and messed up is this? But I remember watching a Sasha Stone video years ago where he interviewed an insider in the Illuminati, and he always said there was somebody behind. It was always at a higher level. And then there are those who worship, quote unquote, Lucifer. Well, to me, Lucifer is part of this reptilian race. So the reason I'm bringing this all up is I shared with you before my dream about where I saw, how many months ago? 6 months ago now? Where I saw the angels of light with their swords and coming up and grabbing all the elites around the planet in their netting and taking them off-world, so that humans, you and I, and everybody else who have our 22 strands plus of DNA of other ET influence within our greatness, right? That we are allowed to live and prosper and expand and be all that we are capable of. And that's why the two cards I pulled, transformation, magical transformation, the strength, the resilience, taking the first step into what it is that we want to create. How exciting is this? So what I did, and then I have to share, Tracy sent me some great questions too that I am going to, I haven't read them, I have them right here on my phone that I will go to. But before I do, I have to share why I brought up the whole reptilian thing, because I asked the Arcturians just exactly what's going on. Now, before I share that though, I did a little extra stuff, research, because again, we know about the Pleiadians, right? Syrians. I honestly haven't known that much about the Arcturians. And Edgar Cayce, who I named my cat after when I was 16, I named him Casey after Edgar Cayce. says that he was an Arcturian starseed, and that they are the highest energy in our galaxy, highest frequency, highest vibration, and that they are the guardians and protectors of higher consciousness of our future, and they are our future prototype. That's where we are evolving to. I believe that there are those, from futures past that have been part of that group from the future that have come back to be here, to be starseeds, and to share information. Yeah, I have felt that, just so you know. Strong pride of technology, physical healing, emotional and spiritual. My healing just came into me, just boom. So it's like, okay, that works for me. And again, up until recently, I can honestly say I have not studied any of the Arcturian information. I am innocent. Emotional belief systems, integration and feelings to resolve conflict. That is what they're really good at. So knowing that, you can then understand what it is that I'm going to share now. So today's conversation with the Arcturians, this is what I put out to them. It said, I would love info that is most relevant to the present moment. What is at play, and what is your part in this, basically. And then this is the answer. I hope you don't mind me reading, but it's just so cool to be able to share this. And I'm actually working towards putting this all into a blog so people can go back and read it, because I want specific answers. I've seen through the years different ones that write out things, and it's very nebulous and airy-fairy and unicorns and kumbaya, which is great and fine and wonderful. However, I want something that speaks to us so we can say, okay, I know, thank you, Chrissy, I know this is factual. This has meat in the game, so to speak. Okay, so this is what it is. There is a group of us that are here to communicate with the Earth Alliance and Galactic Alliance to release the old bondage that has encased Gaia and thus her inhabitants. Okay, you have to understand too, I wrote this, I have not read this, and I finished the last word at literally 6:59. So we are working diligently on this process as we also help remove the old guard of the Naga and the reptilian bases that have contributed to the lockdown of this planet. So I feel that the Arcturians in these alliances are actually helping to say, okay, we got to move these guys out of the Earth frequency, out of this vibrational flux and transformation of this higher vibration of where we're going. So I'm going to add into it what I was thinking while I was writing this. Okay. We are negotiating with them to move into another dimensional time, space, and planetary system where the odds are greater for them. However, the competition and mental rush that provides offsets anything they'd be giving up on planet Earth with humans. Okay, basically what that means is that they have been here for millions of years, right? And we'll talk about that. They have been here for millions of years. They are very set in their ways. Think about how many people in your life, and I'm going to kind of put this more into the masculine energy. Masculine energy tends to want to stay where it's comfortable and not want to change. Well, this is very true, and we probably got that in our reptilian mind, right? Because when we stay put, then we don't move into fear, and the reptilian brain is so much about fear. So it makes sense to me that, I don't want to change because I don't know what's coming, so I'm going to just stay put. So for this reptilian mind, these reptilians and being asked to move out of this system, well, right here they've got plenty of beings to munch on, that meaning us, we are their food. However, and so it's like, why should we leave? Well, the thing is, they're being offered this opportunity to move, even though the competition between the different races will be higher. The positive that comes from that is the fact that they will have competition. Competition gives them, that energy. Think about what happens to you, to me, to us when we're in a competitive situation. We get jacked up. Our endorphins in our mind go up. Ooh, isn't this exciting, right? So there is a positive that comes from this. Okay, there is resistance, yes, as this has been their system in place for millions of years, as they, like many people, are slow to change and thus resist on all avenues. The good news is the leaders of the various reptilian factions realize more clearly than their minions that their game, their time, is up in this vibrational space. They essentially agree and move to another planetary system, or they will be removed under duress and or become extinguished. So essentially the Earth Alliance, the Galactic Alliance, this is the group of, I don't know how many different, I don't know this, how many different governments, how many different leaders, how many different planetary systems, I don't know. Doesn't matter. I just know they're working for us. I love this. That they are letting them know that unless they move, they will not be able to handle this shift in vibration on the Earth, and with humans, they're not going to be able to survive. So they have a choice. They can either move to another planetary system, or they will be removed, and or they will become extinguished. They have choices and options, though for some of it feels they are moving. They have choices and options, though for some it feels they are moving too slowly in their decision process. Me being one, I'm not even in this, and I feel like, could you hurry up your asses already? The positive is these conversations and alliance meetings are taking place with the leaders of these darker negative polarity races. In those spaces of exchange, time ceases to exist. Is this cool? Here on the Earth plane, time moves onwards, backwards, sideways, and forwards, wink, wink, and for some feels as if nothing is occurring. In truth, quite the opposite is true. In non-time, where they are in their alliance meetings, no one is weary, no communication, so communication and negotiations continue. There is much progress. Don't we love this? Some of the various factions and races have already moved to their new star location. Now think about this. So we've already felt a lessening of negativity. Even though if you go out there into the nonsense, you're going, oh my God, the chaos, the soup, it's just this whirlwind, this vortex, this chaos. And yet if you come into your own space and go into your quiet and into your alignment, then you're going, oh, feels a little better, feels a little lighter. Being March 1st, it's also lighter. So in some of this is also because they've already moved. Some of these factions, these reptilian factions, have already been moved to their new star location. They know and understand the brilliance of this strategic first move. It sets them up as the stronger, more intelligent species, and they will actively work to maintain their stronghold. No kidding. Wouldn't you be the first one to say, okay, we'll move you to a new planet? I'm going, okay, what are my options? Okay, you're either going to move me under duress with chains and bullets, okay, or I'm going to be extinguished. Hey, I think I'll sign up and I'll move to the other planet because then I get to choose the nice spot on the hill. Works for me. I mean, doesn't that make sense? So I'm with these guys. Those who delay will have less ground to hold, thus diminishing their powers. No kidding. Think about this. If you wait, all of a sudden you're going to get there and you get an acre of space versus you could have had a whole continent. I'm thinking these guys aren't very smart, but it's because they want to still hold on to their power here. The positive impact of this is shortly there will be a mass exodus off of the planet. This is exciting, to find their slice of the meat pie. This planetary system is in the negative polarity and prepared for their warring and carnivorous energies. Soon planet Earth will only be dealing with humanity's frailties, vices, negativities, and not the draconian races. This bodes beautifully for Gaia and her inhabitants. Oh my God. Know this and be well. They will take with them this virus. It will disappear in the near future. And then it was 7 o'clock. So my feeling on this, bigger picture, is that why not take the virus with them, because it's all chemically and, you know, rearranged within a lab, and they can take it with them because it's got all these nanos and all of this tech in it. They can take it with them and then put it out there to all the ones that they want to inhabit and take over in that. Yeah, doesn't that feel good in this new planetary system? So my sense is that it's coming. It's already in process, and they will soon be all gone. So with that, then we will be down to just those on the planet that are in the tribunals, essentially, at Gitmo, that there are some that are still be running around like, you know, little rats in a maze. However, they are literally going to be trapped. They have no choice now. They're either going to come on board, or again, they will be coerced, under duress, and or extinguish. There is no other option now for them. This is the place and space that's happening. So with that being said, all of the outside chaos that's happening is just the last vestiges of the dying dinosaurs as they go down and go. They take the trees with them, the rocks get broken, the bushes get squished. Think about it that way. And then we have this great opportunity for this massive shift in consciousness and those who aren't even aware will all of a sudden feel a lessening of the negativity. There will be those that are still in that 6 to 20% that will never get this. That's okay. They're going to create their own worth. That too. Own earth and spin off on that. And the rest, just like this card said, how perfect is that? That they're going to hop on board with us and say, you've maybe been telling the truth all along. Maybe I just didn't get it. Maybe something in their consciousness wakes up. For example, what if somebody in their family gets the vaccine and all of a sudden they have all these issues? Before they were healthy, they raced off to get the vaccine because they were scared. They have all these neurological issues show up, and then the family goes, oh God, maybe there's some truth in all this nonsense. So they wake up, and then somebody else wakes up, and somebody else wakes up, and everybody that you guys are red pilling makes a difference. So with that said, I just get so excited. I mean, when I read that, I'm going, oh my God, these guys are going to be off. And my feeling is, I predicted last December that this month things were going to lighten up. And this is before I knew all about the March 4th inauguration possibility. And then my next feeling was in June, because more of the pedophilia information will be released to the regular public. I think those of us who are on the fringe, we know about this. We have been reading about this. We don't necessarily have to have the deep sea dive in it. However, we're all aware of it. There's nobody in this chat that is not aware of this. However, there's still this huge faction that thinks we're ludicrous and nuts and crazy. Well, my feeling is by June, it's not going to happen yet. There's too many other things that are in play right now. Knowing this, though, about the reptilian issue, because that is the crux behind all of it, because they are the ones that have pushed this whole Luciferian agenda. They're the ones that have pushed the trafficking, the pedophilia, the very dark, twisted behavior that have pulled in too many. In my book, this one that I wrote years ago, Soul Rays, I went into the gray rays, and I think this speaks to the gray rays. I can remember when I put that out, one of the gals who was doing she was reading it before it went to the publisher, and she said, you know, you probably shouldn't put that in about Hillary Clinton, or I don't know if I have Obama in there. I've written so much about Obama since, but Hillary was one. She goes, I don't think you should put that out there, that she's a gray ray. And I go, it's the truth. It just is. And even back then, I was saying that Putin was a good guy, right? This gray energy that we've had on this planet all goes back to these reptilians. So to think that they all are going into another planetary system, and I really feel, I'm just speaking off the cuff right now because I feed off your energy, right? So my sense is is that as they move into this other planetary system, it is more in the lower vibrational 3D, right? Because 2D, we've got the 1D, which are the rocks, right? The minerals. And then we move into the 2D, which are the four-leggeds and the mammals as they move into the 3D consciousness, which is us. And then we move into the fourth dimension, which is heart-centered, in the fifth dimension, which is the higher vibrational emotional levels that we talked about 2 weeks ago. So my feeling is that this planetary system that they are moving these forces, these factions, these different ET reptilian races to is a lower vibrational, just beginning 3D consciousness, as if this were Earth how many millions of years ago. And so this planet will eventually move into a place where she also gets to say, okay, I'm done with this experimentation. I'm really done with this. This is where Gaia is, which we all know she, signed the name on the contract, ripped the contract up and said, okay, I'm done. I'm free. So again, these guys are leaving. So today's the 1st of March. So let's, all of us, because we all communicate, which is great. Think about between now and June, if we can sense